It's official, the Alabama Crimson Tide are your 2023 SEC champions. For the first time in 2 years, Georgia has lost a football game. And of course, it came to Alabama. Georgia and Alabama faced off in the SEC championship game, and man, this one really felt like it was like the Super Bowl or something like that. It was a back and forth game that came down to the wire, and it's gonna be a game to remember for a long time. But with it comes a lot of questions and ramifications now. But first, thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. The weather might be cooling down, but the action on the field stays hot. And today I've partnered up with DraftKings, an official partner of the NFL, to get you close to all the action. Right now, new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up using our promo code JDPROD, and the crown is yours. If you're already signed up for DraftKings like me, you can get a no sweat bet. Get a bonus bet back if your same game parlay or same game parlay X doesn't hit. Max reward limits do apply. Are you a fan of multiple teams or want to bet on all of them at once? Combine multiple bets together for a chance at an even bigger payout. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry, you can still get in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, sign up using our promo code JDPROD, and new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets back instantly. That's promo code JDPROD only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you again to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video, and let's get right back to it. Now, coming into this game, a lot of people expected Georgia to win it. And honestly, how could you not? Georgia was probably the better regular season team. You know, they went undefeated, but it did come with a few scares. They were trailing to South Carolina at half and then only beat Auburn by 7. I will say though, both of those games were back in September, so it's been a long time since. But to close out the regular season, Georgia only beat Georgia Tech by 8 points. So even though the general consensus was that Georgia was the better team, they've had bad games, just like Alabama has. They had that weird scare against USF, and then they only beat Texas A&M by 6 and only beat Arkansas by 3. And then they really should have lost to Auburn if it weren't for that miracle 4th and goal from the 31. I still can't believe that touchdown pass to Isaiah Bond even happened in the first place. Really just a killer for Auburn fans, but we're not even talking about the college football playoff if they didn't pull off a miracle last week. Then of course, there was that Texas game in early September where Alabama lost 34-24 at home. That was also a great game, but they got outplayed early in the season. There was this idea that that game could have cost Alabama a trip to the college football playoff, and it turns out that that might be right. Still though, the biggest thing for the Crimson Tide was having to beat number 1 Georgia to even have a chance of getting in. And the odds were certainly stacked against Alabama heading into this game. Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs had won 29 straight games coming into this one. It really felt like Alabama was the big underdog, and it looked like that from early on. Georgia got a defensive stop and immediately marched down the field and scored a touchdown. From there, me and Jackson were watching the game thinking, Georgia's about to run away with this one. Now, that obviously wasn't the case. Alabama proceeded to outplay them for the rest of the half and took a 17-7 lead going into the half. Now, I will say the touchdown to put Alabama up 10 is going to get talked about a lot because Isaiah Bond, didn't catch it, but they gave it to him. It was a 4th and 4 and it wasn't even reviewed. That's an issue on the officiating without a doubt, because that of course can change the entirety of the game. Now, it's not like Alabama ran away with this one. Georgia played better in the second half and had it to a 3-point game with 10 minutes left. But Bama went on to score again, and that about did it. There was a chance at the end for Georgia to potentially get a stop on Alabama and get the ball back, but they just couldn't stop Jalen Milroe on his legs, and he just sealed the game for the Tide. And with that, Georgia loses for the first time since the 2021 SEC championship game. Against who else but Alabama. It was a great 2-year run, but it's over. Some people wrote off Nick Saban this season, and clearly they shouldn't have. Kirby Smart is fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic head coach that's going to go on to continue to do fantastic things in college football. But Saban isn't exactly washed. Now, a player that I think deserves a lot of props is Jalen Milroe. He deserves a lot of credit for how well he's improved over the course of the season. If you remember when he started the season, there was a bunch of controversy of who should even start at quarterback. Milroe wasn't playing the best, so he got benched, and then his backup was trash, so they put him back in, and he really pulled it together down the stretch of the season, so for sure gotta give him his props. It really did feel like Bama was screwed at one point, but once he figured it all out, they were good again, and now he's an SEC champion. But the big question we're left with now is, does Alabama even deserve a chance to play in the college football playoff? As many of you know, this is the last year for the college football playoff, and we're going out with a controversial bang. This is just an absolute mess, and who really knows what the hell is going to happen? Now, there are some certainties with the college football playoff. Washington is in without any doubt. The Huskies are number 3 in the country and just beat number 5 Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. They're 13-0 and a conference champion with one of the best quarterbacks in college football, Michael Penix. They're in, no question. Then there's Michigan, who you can probably put in the exact same boat, unless there's some insane loss to Iowa that seems nearly impossible at this point, but who knows. With the win, they'd be 13-0, Big Ten champions, and have beaten Penn State and Ohio State along the way. There's no question in my mind that they're in. Now, for the other 2 spots, it gets very, very complicated. Thank God the playoff is getting expanded because this thing is impossible to figure out this year. The number 4 team in the country right now is Florida State, and they've been great this season. They beat LSU, Clemson, and Florida. But it gets a bit complicated because, Jordan Travis isn't playing after he suffered a leg injury. Clearly, FSU isn't at their best. But if they can beat Louisville in the ACC championship game, I'm not sure how you can keep them out. Beating Louisville isn't easy. They've been a good team, but they did just lose to Kentucky. But here's the thing, if you don't let in a 13-0 conference champion, then what's the point of the Power 5 in the first place? Florida State has proven to be one of the best teams in the country, and if the playoff is truly based off of full season's work and not just the end of injuries, then I don't know how you can keep them out. So that's 3 teams right there. Then what? No clue. It's gonna be super hard to figure out. Georgia is now 12-1 and not a conference champion. They're fresh off a loss to Alabama, but that was only by 3 points. Then there's Alabama, who did just win a conference champion and is also 12-1. But here's the problem. That one loss was to Texas. Texas went 12-1 this season and just blew out Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. That makes them 12-1 and a conference champion. On top of all of that, the committee has had Texas above Alabama all season long. You can't just have them hop them now. This is the last 4-team playoff, and it's really going to show us just what the college football playoff is truly about. Is it the 4 best resumes, or is it the 4 best teams in the country? If it's the best 4 teams, go ahead and put Alabama and Georgia in and figure out the rest. But that's not how it works, and that's why Alabama shouldn't be in the college football playoff, and why the SEC may just be left out of the playoff for the first time ever. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you like this one, make sure to smash that like button, and if you don't already, subscribe to the channel down below and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload by us. If you want more things J&D, go ahead and follow us on socials at JDProdNFL. And if you want more things from me, follow my socials down here at the bottom of the screen. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.